I want to say good afternoon to you, Dr. Marjorie. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hello, Denise. I'm here.
Awesome, 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 awesome. How are you today?
I'm so blessed. It's such a lovely day in the Sacramento area after a long stretch of very hot weather. It's a beautiful. It was a beautiful morning, and tomorrow's going to be even cooler. So, hooray!
I'm so happy that the weather has cooled down. My God, it was hot.
Woo!
Let me just take a minute to welcome the listeners who are joining us on YouTube and Facebook. This is the Heart of the Matter with Dr. Marjorie. She's here to take your queries, to provide tips and advice on matters that are relating to your heart and emotions. Dr. Marjorie, it is Wednesday. It is another Wednesday. And I know you want to ask me what I want to talk about today. But can I ask you, what do you want to talk about today?
Actually, I want to talk about the fact that it's Tuesday.
Oh, I said it was Wednesday, right? Oh my God. And I keep saying Wednesday all day. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank
Well,
you
I
so,
got to
so very
thinking, and
much.
I thought, well, maybe it is Wednesday, and I'm the one that's off a day here. I was listening to the show and listening to your comments about grief and uh, this is something that you would think would come up a lot in counseling, but I don't know. We eventually get to it, but it's not often the first thing that clients bring to me. Isn't that kind of curious? I guess it is curious and it's not curious because really, as a society, we don't deal with grief very well. We tend to ignore it or think, well, maybe I should be able to handle this. We don't talk about it. And it's something that happens to each and every one of us. We all pass and we don't live forever. And we just don't talk about it.
I think also that there's a fear surrounding death. And because of that fear, it makes us not want to identify with it in any
Hmm.
area.
Hmm. Yeah. I am pretty sure that 100 years ago, 200 years ago, death was such a the word that comes to mind is companion, and that's I don't know. It just happened. Babies died, loved ones died, animals on the farm died. You killed animals in order to eat the food. You saw it on the farm, and I think we have really sanitized death, and as a result, we don't deal with it very well. Does that resonate
Mm,
with you? I don't know how it is in Jamaica, but here in the United States, it's become very sanitized, and usually people um, aren't with their loved ones when they pass. I have been with loved ones when they pass, and it is actually a very beautiful process. It has been. I have to say, I'm very blessed. They were elderly, and it was time, and it was a process, and I was privileged to be there with them when they passed. That's not to say that death is not traumatic for other people, but the passings that I have witnessed personally have been very beautiful, and they have taught me a lot about the life cycle. Has that been true for you, Denise? I know there's been trauma, but have you also been able to experience a beautiful death?
I have, you know, when my mom was sick and in the hospital, I she was in a ward where there were a lot of persons who were passing. So I started watching these people taking their last breath,
Hmm.
and somehow there I can tell that the ones who were at peace, they didn't struggle, and it was a pleasure to just watch them go. The other pleasant one for me was watching my mother go, even though it was heart wrenching. just the way the things that unfolded during her death. Um, Supernatural things as well. Being woken up by I don't know who to tell me to go get my sister to pray for my mother before she goes. My watching her taking her last breath, not really struggling, but you know the breath moving up and seeing the peace that was on her face. My sister calling out to her to tell her no, don't go yet, because my sister's always having conversation with her to go when it's daylight, and watching her breathe again and not passing until it was daylight. Those things was a pleasure to watch. I know that she was with her father. Yeah. So it there are deaths that I've gone through that was not as traumatic as my sister's. Yeah. Did I grieve differently? Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a really wonderful book if anyone wants a book to read about this. Oh boy, I just lost it. I just lost. I'll come back to that. I will look for the title and the authors because I want to give them credit because it really is the backbone of what I use personally when I do have clients who want to um, uh, navigate through the grieving process. It's a really good book.
Mm.
And what the authors talk about is the unfinished business that's involved with grieving and a death. So, what I usually start off asking my clients is this question: what is your unfinished business with this person who passed that you are grieving? I'm sure that, like in the death of your sister, because it was so unexpected and quick, there was a whole bunch of unresolved, unfinished business. Yeah,
A whole lot.
a whole lot.
A whole lot. One of the number one thing was that the immediate thing, she left to wake me up to go to school the morning. So for years, I'm looking for this wake up call.
Mm. Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
so very suddenly, now it's your responsibility.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Because she was working the midnight to morning shift. And so by the time she would be ready to leave to come home, it would be time for me to wake up to go to work, to go to school. Sorry. And so every morning I'm expecting this phone ringing,
Mhm.
and it never came.
Mm.
That was one.
Yeah.
There were other things that she promised me that she would have done that.
Like what? Like what? Can you say one?
Yes, yes, yes. Um, okay, so for one, we were working together on a tablecloth. So my sister was very crafty. She cooked well. She baked wedding cakes. She sew really well. And so we were embroidering a tablecloth, or we were doing like the designs on the middle with a
Mhm.
fruit bowl.
Mhm.
And she was teaching me how to do embroidery stitches, and then she was going to teach me how to crochet the ends of it,
Oh.
or the knitting of the ends of it, right? So we were at the part now where we had done the middle, and she was supposed to start the ends because I don't know how to do it. So she was supposed to get to that part. So for years I had that until it got discolored, waiting for it to be done. And I remember my mother offered to send me to school to do that knitting course, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to go.
Mhm.
I did needlework, sewing and textile in high school, I flunked the class because there was so much attached to it and I couldn't share it. I didn't know how to share it. Um, there, I was her prep cook, and I'm sure you're not going to believe this one. But you know how I make those big breakfasts for church on a Sunday?
Yes.
I didn't cook for years because I was her prep cook. I didn't bake. I just did the bare minimum to feed myself. And so this was an unlocking when I got healing, being able to cook and to provide for persons. Um, she was the one who taught me how to do those decorations on the salad and that kind of thing. So
Mm.
yeah,
Those radish flowers?
yes,
Uh,
the rose flowers, the
Roses, yeah,
tomato
yeah.
rose. Um, there's there was another promise to send me to modeling school. She died before that happened. So my first paycheck, I used it to pay my way to grooming school. So there were some things that were promised that were unfulfilled. And one of the major one is that she had a surprise for us that she was going to tell us on. She told us that we need to get ready for Christmas, for a very special Christmas. And we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Now, we didn't know that this girl was engaged and going to be getting married. I didn't.
Mhm.
My elder siblings knew, but it was a surprise to us. We were supposed to get dressed to go to church on Christmas morning, and she died like probably 19 days away from her wedding. So there are a lot of unfulfilled things.
Ugh,
And some of these I only found out a few years ago,
yeah,
including that there was a baby
yes,
involved.
yes.
So yeah,
I hope that your listeners will hear what contains unfinished business. And I hope that the listeners who are, um, feeling the pain right now will take some time and either pray it out with God or journal it out or do something with this unfinished business because it's so helpful to, first of all, realize that much of their grieving pain is because of unfinished business, but also it helps, move helps you move on when you're able to actually see it or hear it or work that through. Another thing I hope listeners will be able to do is, ask yourself these questions. What do you wish had been different? Of course, you probably wish that they hadn't passed. That's the first thing. That's the obvious one. But what in your relationship with this person who you're grieving? You know what? I also want to clarify something. Grieving doesn't isn't just done when someone dies. When a
yes.
relationship is over, when you have lost a relationship, when somebody's walked away from you, when you've walked away from someone, if you've lost a job, or you feel like your youth is lost and you're old, grief is very complicated and complex, and it's not just death and dying that we're talking about here. So one of the questions I ask my clients in counseling is, what do you wish had been different, even with people who have passed on, who have died? What do you wish had been different? Denise, can you answer that question? Until a caller calls, I'm going to use you as always as my client. So, what do you wish had been different in your relationship with your sister?
So there's one particular thing that happened the very day she passed.
Mhm.
I came home from school and I was tired. And we had a big, not lemon, but lime. We have lime trees in Jamaica,
Mhm.
the green ones. So she sent me to the lime tree to pick some limes because she wanted to make some lemonade for to go with the dinner that she was making or to add to the drink. My sister is, as I said, she's creative, so she doesn't waste anything. So she was making fancy dinner and fancy drink, and she wanted me to go pick the limes. And I hid from her and I went to sleep instead.
Oh.
I fell asleep in my uniform and everything. I just acted as if I didn't hear her. I told her I would be going to do it in a short while, and I hid from her.
Uh-huh.
I went into my other sister's room, locked the door, and went to sleep. And so she came and she kissed me when she was leaving. And she woke me up and I said, I'm going to pick the lime now. And she laughed. And she said, Your dinner is ready. She said, Your dinner is ready. Um, Go take off your uniform, take a shower, do your homework, and go to bed early because I'll be calling you in the morning. That thing of not being able to pick that lime
Mhm.
is one of the unfinished business, but mine is minor. I would say it's minor compared to my brother and my mother. My there's something that my mother carried, and she carried it to her death. Her She said the Holy Spirit woke her up to pray for her children. That was a Sunday morning because she was leaving to go to the country. And when she walked to our rooms, we were all sleeping. She walked to our various rooms and we were all sleeping. And she said she looked up and she said, God, my children are tired. They're tired. I'm going to let them sleep. And she regretted until her death not praying for us because she felt like she could have broken
Mm.
whatever was sent from the enemy to take up my sister.
Mm.
Also, my brother. So it was my sister's day off. She was a cop. It was her day off, and she switched her day off with someone else. Yeah, so that girl carried a weight as well, and we saw it at the funeral because she broke down
Mhm.
as she was being a guard of honor. She broke down. But my brother, when my sister was trying to get to work, it was a rainy day, a very very rainy Monday evening, and there was no taxis for her to take to work because she had to take the taxi to one area and then take the bus again. When she could not get any, my brother was coming to pick up his niece from my house to go get his wife, who was a nurse, coming from the same parish that my sister was going to. So they were going to meet at the bus station in Spanish Town, for those who know Jamaica. So my brother saw her and she said, Where are you going? Come take me to Spanish Town now. And she jumped in the car. They came and picked up my niece and he dropped her off at Spanish Town. And she took the bus to get into Kingston, and it was on the bus that it happened that she was raped and murdered. Now, my brother lived with the guilt of not taking her all the way, and he still has not released it. I take two things from the things that happen: the regret. I never say to someone, I'm going to pray with you and don't follow through.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
And no matter how far you're going, I will take you all the way. I will not allow you, don't ask me to drop you halfway of where you're going because I'm not going to live with that guilt
Oh,
if anything should happen to you. I remember I had a friend visiting a doctor in Jamaica. She was doing a course at Stanford, and we spent the day together. She actually took the bus to meet me in San Francisco, and she wanted to go to Sausalito to visit the boat houses. We spent the whole afternoon together. We had a great time. And then she said, leave me at the train station since you have to go back to Sacramento, and I'll catch the bus to Stanford. Of course. We were tired. I mean, extremely exhausted. I said to her, if you will drive to Stanford, I'll drive back. Don't worry about taking the train. And it was only until we got to the destination I told her why. I could not allow you to take the
mm,
train. So those are some of the unfinished things that, and I'm sure each of my siblings has their own.
yes. Isn't it good to talk about them and talk it out, Denise?
Yes, that's the best part of it.
Yeah,
I wasn't able to do it for years. I think until I sat on your couch, I wasn't able to do it properly. Yeah.
very important.
So thank you. Let me just remind the listeners again, this is not a conversation for you to eavesdrop on. This is not about Dr. Marjorie and I. I have done my work. I've gotten my freedom on her couch. And so I brought her here for you. The number to call is WhatsApp 825-343-4486. That's 825-343-4486. You can call her. You can talk to her. It doesn't have to deal with grief. Whatever is on your heart, you can call and you can have that conversation with her. Yes, Dr.
Some
Marjorie.
something that is totally not related to anything that we're talking about here, but it's for my own curiosity. Um, I have often heard of Spanish Town. I have no idea what it's like. I have no idea who lives there. It comes up in conversation with you. Tell me a little bit about Spanish Town. I have a very romantic American idea of what this place is like. Totally off topic. It has nothing to do with mental health therapy. I guess we could. My challenge is to make it a mental health question or
Ooh.
topic.
So Spanish Town is the oldest and largest city in Jamaica.
Mm,
It was the capital of Jamaica. It was when it was founded by the Spanish, and it was called Della Villa de la Vega. And the English, when they came and captured Jamaica, they named it Spanish Town. The streets are built um, in the to replicate a city in Spain. So, like the streets have the high steps. Um, you'd notice that there's a lot of brick buildings, and the horses would pull up on the steps. I often wondered why the steps of Spanish Town were so high. But you know where the horse and buggy, where the buggy would stop?
yes,
Right. So the stairs would meet the buggy. So you
very
could
good.
step off the buggy into the house.
Is it
So
beautiful? Is it beautiful?
it is beautiful if you appreciate the relic the yeah, the relics of you know history,
Yes.
if you appreciate the history. However, Spanish Town has Jamaica's At one time it was the only prison, so it was a violent town. You can imagine that it was the capital, so it would have been like a bustling downtown, like a San Francisco, beautiful city, but filled with a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, there were a lot of political violence when I was growing up. It
Mm-hmm.
it dogged the city. Um, there's a lot of crime and violence in some parts. There are, like every town in Jamaica, there are areas where the very wealthy lives.
Mm-hmm.
There, and they live on the hill. There are communities that are what do you call mid-range, and then there's the poorer class. So Spanish Town has all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the beauty in it is the mixture.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope I painted a good picture of you. I was missing Catherine, so I should be able to paint that picture well. And
Okay.
if I didn't do it good, guys, listeners, you can tell me if I did a good job of painting Spanish Town.
Very good. Something last time that we were talking together, so a week ago, um, I was just about ready to make a point, and a caller called.
Hmm.
And what I wanted to say, and this ties in with where we were just a moment ago, talking about your brother and his regrets about what he wished he had done, taking her all the way to the end. Um, I mentioned Pastor Scott Hagan. He was the senior pastor, the pastor who started Real Life Church, and uh, he was saying in one of his sermons, we must get away from asking the why question and ask what instead. Isn't that good?
Hmm.
So often we never get the answer to why did this happen? Or why didn't I take her all the way to the end? Or why did he have to, show up at that place at that time? Those are questions that many times we don't get answers to. But when we ask the what, that is such a better question. What are the lessons that I can take from this? For instance, you have taken two of those things to heart and you are living your life differently. So you're
Yes.
taking the what can I learn from this? What can I do differently? What can I do better? That is such a valuable question, so much more valuable than the why. I hope that makes sense to somebody. I loved that. I'm carrying that sermon with me for always, and I love to bring it up to my clients as well. It's not ours to ask why in this circumstance, but it's better to ask what. What will we do with this information? What will we do differently? What will we do the same? I hope that speaks to somebody because it spoke to me.
Well, it's speaking to me right now
Good.
because I didn't look at it as if it's a what I'm doing differently.
Hmm.
I always look at it as I don't want the same thing to happen. So,
Sure.
but I didn't see it as what you're saying, which is
Yeah.
really what it is.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're so welcome. So then in my counseling, if I were to be in the role of counselor right now and you were in the role of counselee, I would probably ask you this question, and I hope the listeners will also contemplate this question as if they're in the counseling session. I would ask, what do you wish had been better?
With my sister, with that situation,
Sure.
oh God, so much. I wish the government of Jamaica had cared enough to ensure that their police officers didn't have to take a public transportation.
Yeah. Has it always been like that?
Yes. And it affected a lot of police women after my sister's death. Quite recently, I spoke with her best friend, who is now a lawyer. She's no longer in the police force. And she said, "You wouldn't imagine what we went through having to go to work after that happened as women police officers. The fear that we face every time we have to go on a bus or even deal with criminal matters in certain volatile areas. And to, in fact, there was a protest after by the women police, especially a call to the government to provide transportation for the officers to get to and from work. Has it improved? Not at all.
Hmm.
That's one.
What do you wish had been more?
More time with her.
Hmm.
I only got 15 years. Probably too young to remember the first three.
Hmm.
Wish I got more of what she was teaching me.
How much older was she than you?
She was 10 years my senior, and our birthdays were a week apart.
Mm. So she would be, oh, do you dare divulge your age?
She'll be 61 this year.
Still young.
Right. She passed at 25.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, so far, I have asked, what's your unfinished business with this person? I
Hmm.
hope the listeners are taking notes here because this is good stuff and this would cost money. If they were coming to my consulting room, they'd have to pay money for this, and this is wonderfully free. So I would ask, what's your unfinished business with this person? Next thing is, yeah,
Hold on a second. Yes, Andrea Jones, if you want to call, you can call from WhatsApp. The number is 825-343-4486. You can go ahead and call the WhatsApp number 825-343-4486.
good.
You can go ahead, Dr. Marjorie.
So what's your unfinished business with this person? Um, what things do you wish had been different? That's the next question. Next question, what do you wish had been better? And then this next question, what do you wish had been more? And the point in me asking these questions, and again, they come from this book, and I before the program is over, I will give you the name and the authors of this book. The point and purpose of asking these questions is to get you talking about this. It's in talking and thinking through these things, this unfinished business, that healing comes, that you're able to move forward with the process. And once again, it's not just grieving over someone who's deceased. It's the end of a relationship, it's the end of a job, it's the end of an era in your life, it's the end of mobility. Some people who have suddenly lost their mobility or have gotten older and are grieving youth that's passed. Grief comes in a lot of different packages.
Absolutely true. Just want to say this to the caller who is asking the question. She says, "My sister wants to call." Can you tell her to go ahead and call right now? The program is just for an hour and we're halfway through. So please have your sister call right now. The number to call is 825-343-4486. And I just want to remind the listeners that you don't have to identify yourself unless you choose to. Yes, Dr. Marjorie.
What do you wish had been more time, you said? Anything else before we move to the next point?
Now that I know about her pregnancy, I wish I had that beautiful baby as a
Yes.
niece or nephew. Yes. I wish I had gotten to see her get married. I wish, I always wish I knew what the surprise was.
Do you think that's what it was?
It is.
Okay.
Her fiance had confirmed it for me, and he passed a couple of years ago in a. That was another traumatic death too, but he passed just like 2 years ago,
Mm.
and he confirmed it for me before. Yes.
Was he ever able to come to grips with the loss?
No. No.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so unfinished business. Um, what do you wish had been different? What do you wish had been better? What do you wish had been more? And then the next thing that we would move into in counseling, and by the way, each of these questions can take weeks and weeks and weeks to
Yes.
undo.
Right. Because the more you're repeating them, is the more I'm thinking of what did I wish. The more I'm thinking of the answers.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Clearly, we don't go as quickly through all these questions,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
uh,
Yes. 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 Yes.
because they are very layered. They are
Yes.
multi-layered, if you will. So the
Yes.
next thing that we work on is apologies. It's a very important part of the grieving process. Apologies that are made from the person who is surviving to the deceased or to the person, the lost relationship, and then apologies that you wish you had gotten from that person that's no longer in the picture. Uh, isn't that an interest? I never before I read this book, I never thought about that as being part of a therapeutic process when it comes to grief.
Mm.
Does
Wow.
anything come to mind, Denise, when you think about apologies that you need to have made to your sister? And then
Of
then I will
course.
okay, then I will ask you, what do you wish she had said to you in apology? Okay, start with you first.
For me, it is. I
Not picking the
apologize for
lime,
not
not picking the
for not
lime.
picking the limes, for hiding from you.
Yeah, got it. What else?
Uh, um, I'm not sure that there was much more that I needed to apologize to her for, because we had a really good relationship, and you know she was a great big sister. But that one, and any other time that I did something like that, yes, I would apologize for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you wish that she could apologize to you for?
Yes. Yes.
Do you care to share that?
Hmm. I felt like, and I don't know if I can put this on her, but when she died, my family, she was a rock in my family, even more than my mother. So when she died, we started getting, a little distance. And then when my mother died, it just crumbled. So she shifted the dynamics in my family. And also when growing into a woman and you're going through certain things, And this goes for both her and my mother. I wish that they were there for me to, as a big sister or as a mother, in my career, in my health, in my just in my life, you know, in my walk, my journeys through life.
So as far as
There's
apologies go from her, what does that?
abundant in me,
What's that?
for abundant in me.
Oh, yes.
Not
Yes.
that it's their fault, but it happened.
Right. Right. So then, after we work through that, then I move into the whole area of forgiveness. And this part of the process can certainly last many weeks.
Hmm.
And forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person, actually. Forgiveness is, just put a hold on that.
We have a caller. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Heart of the Matter with Dr. Marjorie. You're live.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can can you turn off your device that you're listening? Yes, can you turn off the device that you're listening to? Because I'm getting a feedback.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you better. Dr. Marjorie, are you hearing her?
I can.
My name is Judith. I was flying here and I was listening, but I heard you guys talking about forgiveness, right?
Yes.
And you and Sister Denise, you said something about abandoned, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
About your mom. Yeah, about your mom. Okay. Well, my mom died when I was 5 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know nothing about my mom, nothing about my dad, but my eldest sister from my mom, because I born in the country, I born in St. Elizabeth, but my sister was living in Kingston. But when my mom died, my sister come and get me from the country. But she took me to Kingston. But when she took me to Kingston, it's like at age 5. She did a business about me. She abused me, and most of my siblings that are there, but now they were my cousin. So they abused me, and one part of my life, I felt like I was going to give up on life.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I think I forgave my sister, but sometimes the memories they still linger in my head what she have done to me. My husband abused me. My cousin they abused me. They treat me like I was outcast, like I was nobody. But my husband, he cheated, he get children. But sometimes I say to myself, I forgave him, but the pain is still there because sometimes I even get angry and I reminding him about how he hurt me. But to tell the truth, I'm a Christian, but sometimes I feel like I'm not a Christian because I keep reminding him of what he has done to me. So I'm asking, do I for, do I forgive him or don't forgive him because it still hurt and I still remember what my family have taken me through when my mom died and I still sometimes feel the pain and it's really hurt. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a depression mood sometimes. Sometimes I feel I don't want to talk to nobody, but I always have a smile. I don't want to talk to people sometimes. And sometimes I just, even if I'm watching the TV is on silent, but I'm still watching it. But sometimes I'm not even want to hear my kids' voice sometimes. I just want peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm. So
So,
who is the first person who comes to mind when you feel the need to forgive? Who is the first person that comes to mind?
the first person that I need to forgive my husband, to love him again like I used to. Because even that we have done, sometimes I feel no feeling for him, and I feel like I'm not a part of him anymore. But I need to forgive him to live like a Christian then.
Mm-hmm. And what one thing is it that you would like to be able to release from your heart toward your husband? What is one thing? I know there's probably many things, but is there one key thing that you would like to release to God?
So the one thing I would like to release from my mind,
Denise, I'm having a very hard
the
time.
part that he cheated and
Okay.
he got kids outside of our house, because my daughter is almost 10 and the kids are 0 now. So I want to release that out of my mind, because next time when I remember the kids, I got angry. They are innocent, but I got angry.
Denise, can you help me here? I had a very hard time understanding.
I want to forget that
Caller, hold on a moment. Let me just try to help Dr. Marjorie to understand what you're saying.
The connection is very bad. It's not what she's saying. I'm just having a hard time getting the details.
Oh, okay. Okay. There is a crackling. There's something in your background.
I don't know if my phone is breaking.
Yeah, there's a noise in your background that's coming across and it's drowning out your voice.
I don't have a noise. I'm downstairs, but I don't have a noise. I have muted the TV, but
Okay, so you're clear. You're clear now. You're clear now. So if you can go ahead and Dr. Marjorie, is there anything that you want me to say that she had said earlier or you didn't catch?
When I was asking her what's the number one thing that she would like to forgive her husband for, I think what I heard was that he had an affair. Is that correct?
Had an affair and gotten kids outside, and she'd like to forgive him for that and to forget about it. But
Yes.
she's hurting still.
Yes. Okay. Now, this is, we have like 15 minutes to talk about something that is very deep and very complex. And I don't want to minimize her pain, and I don't want to minimize the trauma of what she's going through. But again, she's not here. I can't see her, but I can just tell you, and hopefully something that I'm going to say is going to be helpful for the caller. What forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not excusing, it's not minimizing the behavior. What he did is unacceptable. Forgiveness is not a quick fix. Sometimes we need to come back to this topic again and again and work it and rework it a few times or many times. And forgiving is not forgetting. There's this phrase, forgive and forget. Well, I think that's terrible, because sometimes it's very important that we not forget what happened. But forgiving is a gift from God. The ability to forgive your husband is a supernatural work of God, and it has to do with grace. Forgiving is acknowledging who's responsible. Forgiving is an event, and it is a process. Forgiving is a removal of the negatives that are associated with the events, the bitterness, the envy, the regrets, and the fear. And sometimes we forget that we have the power to choose. this is a very difficult situation. The choice to forgive is deliberate, and it needs to be purposeful, but it's your choice to break the patterns of the past and purposely take your husband off the hook, but mostly you're taking yourself off the hook. I don't know if any of that is resonating with you, but some of the barriers, let's talk about this, barriers to forgiveness. The need to blame. I know that that's very difficult. The need to balance the scales. I mean, you want him to pay. That is a barrier to forgiveness, but it's very human. It's very natural to really want him to pay for what he did. And also the desire to punish is very strong, and it's very difficult. So if you can bring these things to God, asking him to help you acknowledge that this is difficult and give you the power to love again and to move ahead, that's just so key to this. Now I'll let you have a chance to respond.
But to tell the truth, it's easier for me to love other people, and hard for me to love my husband again.
Yes, of course. The first step is to acknowledge the offense, and you just did that. What kind of emotions do you feel when you think about your husband offending you? Tell me the emotions that you feel.
Sometimes I feel angry. I don't want to see him. Sometimes I just want to leave and go.
Yes.
Sometimes I just want to, I don't want to be around him sometimes.
Yes. Anger.
Because sometimes I say this because I am a Christian, and to get up and go and leave my kids behind, I sometimes I said because of my kids, I sacrifice on my kids that I am here. So I am still here.
Yes. What other emotions do you feel about this situation with him?
The emotion. Sometimes when I sit by myself, sometimes it's really painful and thinkable, and sometimes, as I said, sometimes I feel like I'm in a depression mood. Sometimes I not even want to hear nothing around me. I just want to stay. If I was not going to work, I would be in the house feeling lost.
So I hear you saying you feel angry.
I'm feeling sorry for myself.
Sorry for yourself, yes. What have you learned about him as a result of this situation?
What do I learn about him?
What have you learned? What have you learned about him as a result of this betrayal? About his character?
I know that I asked him many a time why did he do it? He said he don't know. That's it. You don't know. Then the other time he put it in my face. In goes like a cheese and he get too youth and I'm rub it in his face. Sometimes he have no remorse sometimes. Like he just said he don't know why he did it. And then another time it's like him glad that he did it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. What do you think needs to happen here in order to reconcile this?
I need to be honest with myself to know that definitely deep inside I forgive him. I don't want to rub it in his face all the time.
I didn't quite catch what you said. Can you say it again?
She said,
I said I want to be honest with myself. I want to know that I forgive him. And I don't want to keep shoving it in his face all the time.
Denise, can you help me out?
she said she wants to be honest with herself in knowing that she forgive him and not always throwing it in his face, not always bringing it up.
Yeah.
mentioning it. So she wants to be honest with herself
Yes.
in forgiving him or knowing that she has forgiven him.
Yeah. Caller, what would you like to say to him? Rehearse it with me. What would you like to say to him?
Let me that I said, I told him that I forgive you, but when I bring it up back, he said, you know that you don't forgive me because you always bring it up back.
Is there anything that he could say or do that would make it right again?
I don't think so. Because I told him as long as I live, I will never trust him again.
And there it is.
Can you repeat that, please?
Well, it sounds to me like you have already decided that you will not forgive him. Is that true?
No, I wanted to forgive him. I wanted to let go of the hurt and of the past. I want to let go.
So what is the block here? You want to, but what?
Honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. As what you said, I prayed and even I prayed and I poured my heart to God. And I said, God, I want to forgive him and I want you to forgive me. But sometime again it come right back around. The pain come right back around. I don't know.
Is there, I'm coming back to this question again. Is there something that you feel that he must do in order to make it right?
I don't know because he said he do every little thing because he said sorry. But sometimes to me, when I read that, it's not, it's like you do sorry because I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what else to do.
Are you safe living in the situation with him?
In the same house?
Yeah.
Sometimes he's a bit violent, a bit angry, but my kids are here and sometimes I told him if he would do some shot or whatever, I would call the police. So
Mm-hmm.
because we are in a foreign country now, we don't want the police to get involved.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to forgive him?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Do you realize that it is a choice?
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
I try so many times. I try so hard. Sometimes, like for example, sometimes we are good, and
Mm-hmm.
couple like months or days, I'm just get angry just like that.
Yeah.
This moment I'm okay, I'm cool, and the next moment I'm just angry at him. I don't know for what reason.
Do you feel like you have been treated unfairly by him?
Yeah, because I even when he was traveling before, I sit and I wait 8 months and I sit and I keep my cool and I could do stuff, but I didn't. And for this just come along, sometimes I ask myself, what have I done to deserve this treatment and stuff?
Okay. I apologize to you, caller. I'm having a very difficult time hearing, and because I'm having a difficult time fully fully hearing your heart.
You're hearing me now?
All right, let me help you out a bit. Let me help you out a bit.
Okay.
She says that he was. All right, so caller, there is a scratching. There's a scratching in the background that is causing us a lot of noise on this side. Somebody's moving around with some stuff. I think it's your son.
My daughter, she just come inside.
Right. It's causing a lot of noise on our end, and it's difficult for Dr. Magic to hear. But let me try to tell her what you just said. So she said, she is angry that when he was, when she was in Jamaica and he was traveling abroad to do
Mhm.
seasonal work as a seasonal labor, which is a farm work program, she mentioned.
Okay.
She waited on him 8 months at a time, never cheated,
Mm.
never went outside the marriage.
Mhm.
And she's angry that her faithfulness was meted with his cheating, and not just cheating, but getting kids outside of the
Yeah.
marriage.
Of course. Of course. That's deeply painful. I understand now. I understand. Um, we're also getting low on time, Denise, and I don't want to cut it short because she deserves to have a good answer and some good hope that's instilled within her heart. Um, I just would emphasize um, it was wrong what he did, and you were faithful. And God sees that. He sees that. He sees your heart. God loves you with an everlasting love. He will never do that to you. God, your heavenly Father will never betray you. So cling close to him because he intimately wants to love you and to mend those pains and those hurts that you feel from the betrayal of your husband's faithfulness. Um, the need to blame, the need to get revenge, the need to balance the scales, that's something that you need to take to the Lord, and you need to as best you can let those things go. Forgive yourself. That also needs to happen. Forgiving of yourself and the desire to punish yourself by staying in a bad situation. It's a very complicated thing, and it's not something that can be remedied in a moment like this. But my best counseling advice to you would be to nurture that intimate relationship you have with the Lord. Take it to him continually. Forgiving, I want to repeat this, forgiving is not excusing that bad behavior. Forgiving is not minimalizing what he did. And forgiving is not a quick fix. You have to come at it again and again and again. And remember that forgiving is a gift from God. It's a supernatural work that happens within you where you are able to extend amazing grace to this person who has damaged your trust. I don't know. Does that give you any hope, caller?
Any hope for me to love him like the way I used to?
What did she say, Denise? My connection is
She's
very bad.
asking if it's any hope for her to love him the way she used to.
Yes, of course. There's always hope. With the Lord, there is always hope that this can be salvaged. Um,
I tried and I will continue to put it before the Lord.
yes, it is possible, and I I I don't know in the human sense how possible it is when he continues this kind of bad behavior. If you see a turnaround, of course, then it is always possible to revive things. But there needs to be a change, and the way that the change happens is with trust and a change in his behavior.
Yeah.
So she's asking if you're noticing a change in his behavior as well, so you can address that, caller.
No, his behavior, as I said, his behavior will never change because he's angry just that. just as like always.
Denise, I can't understand anything, and
She
it has
said
nothing.
his behavior will never change because he's just as angry as always.
Okay, then the change is going to happen within her, that she protects herself, that she nurtures that relationship with her loving father. That's the only way she's going to survive this, is to take care of herself and her relationship with God. And in staying faithful to the Lord, he will show her the way. And pray for that husband. Pray for that husband, that he sees the gift that he has in this beautiful wife.
Amen. Sister Denise, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you, dear one.
And there are some other matters that I'm going to suggest that you call back next week to talk to Dr. Marjorie, because you mentioned some the hurt that you're carrying with your sister. Yes, yes, and I think that we can get to the heart of that. We dealt with the husband.
I'm living in Bradford. What time? Bradford time is now 5:70. You have what 3 something.
It is 2:07 for us now. We usually start at
I have 5:07.
right, so we usually start at 4 o'clock your time. So
And
call
I,
her. Use up the whole hour if you need to.
yes, and
Call
I would love to talk
and
to her.
just let's get. There's healing here for you.
Yes, I would
But
love to
the
talk to her.
time we need the
And
time to work it through. So call as often as you need. Call from early and let's get to it. I got my freedom, and I'm telling you that it is possible to be
yes,
freed.
Okay,
I would love to
Thank you.
talk to her again, and especially if we have a better connection, because I really can't understand. And it's not her, it's the connection.
Sister Denise, I'm gonna text you my number and this WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Perfect.
I'll text you my name. Thank you.
Alrighty, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you again for calling. Have a wonderful day.
Same to you,
Ah,
Sister Denise.
All right, God bless you.
oh, that's so frustrating. I can hear her pain, I can feel her pain, and I couldn't hear it. So if we could have a chance to talk again with a better connection, I would really enjoy that.
Alrighty, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
And the Grief Recovery Course is the name of the book that I was referring to earlier. The Grief Recovery Course by John W. James and Russell Friedman. It's a very, very good book, and it breaks down the grieving process into sessions, just like you would have if you came to me for counseling. The Grief Recovery Course by John James and Russell Friedman. We went long, Denise. I apologize.
But that's fine. Listen, I'm here so that persons can get freed, and I know you're here to do the same. And I'm telling you, if it takes the entire show to get one person free, I am willing to give up the show to the program
Amen.
because
I am
it is
too.
necessary. It is necessary. So listeners, I'm asking you to bear with us. If one person get free as a result of Dr. Marjorie coming and the Holy Spirit moving in this place, for them to be set freed. I carried grief for all of my life from I was a 15-year-old child until almost 50. And I know there are several other persons who are doing the same, carrying their hurt and pain. Whatever it takes for them to get free, I'm going to ask you to forgive us for not playing music, forgive us for not playing your favorite Adventures in Odyssey, forgive us for not doing the birthday segment. Whatever it takes, I am willing to do it so that persons can be set free. And if Dr. Marjorie is here to do it, we will do it together with the presence of the Holy Spirit. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Marjorie, for coming and for sharing with us today.
It's
Thank
my
you for thank you for providing me with free therapy. There's a section that you did that I didn't think about, and we didn't do together.
what's
The
that?
the part about what the apologies, the
Yes.
apologies to my sister. Yes, so that was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it, but you
Yeah.
caused me to think. I didn't
Good.
even realize that I felt abandoned until that was the word, until we started talking about it. So thank
Uh,
you so very much.
you're welcome. And I really do pray that that caller will try again and see if we can make some breakthroughs here. It was very difficult for me. I just wanted so much to help, and I couldn't unravel it.
Okay, all righty.
I couldn't
All
hear
right,
it.
Dr. Marjorie,
Okay.
this is where we pull things down from Facebook. This is where we pull things down from YouTube. Actually, there's a message for you right now. I don't know if you can see it.
You
The
can see.
message for those who are listening on the radio, it says, "Good evening, ladies. There's nothing to apologize for. I want to thank you for grace. Thank you for extending grace, Stephanie Brown. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
God bless you."
Stephanie. Thank you.
So once again, I thank you, Dr. Marjorie, for coming in. And for those who are listening on YouTube and Facebook, this is where I pull things down because, as you know, I can't play the music on Facebook and YouTube, or else we'll get a strike and we'll lose the entire broadcast. She says we have to be intentional like Jesus and go for the imbibe. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for those words of wisdom.
Indeed.
Go for the one. She's saying go for the one. We have to be intentional like Jesus and go for the one. Yes. And I
Absolutely.
definitely intend to go for the one who needs freedom, the one who needs healing, the one who's carrying pain. And I know that it's there's a lot in my country. So I want to thank you again and I want to bless you. Have a wonderful day. And this is where we pull things down. God bless you.